When a single photograph of Megyn Kelly appeared online, it didn't just circulate, it detonated across social media within hours. Comment sections filled up instantly. Opinions formed before facts even settled. And a familiar cycle began again. One image, thousands of reactions, and a public figure suddenly pulled into a storm she never asked for. But what exactly did people think they saw, and why did it spark such an intense wave of conversation in the first place? This is not just a story about a viral photo. It's a story about perception, public scrutiny, and the strange way the internet magnifies everything in seconds. Because once you look past the headlines and the noise, you start to realize something uncomfortable. Most viral moments reveal far more about the audience than the person in the image. Megyn Kelly has spent years in the public eye, known for her sharp interviews, direct questioning style, and ability to stay composed under pressure. From major television networks to high-profile political discussions, she has built a career in spaces where every word is analyzed. But fame like that comes with a hidden cost. You are never just seen for your work. You are constantly interpreted, judged, and reshaped by public perception. So when a new photo surfaced and began trending, it didn't matter that it was an ordinary moment in her life. The internet rarely waits for context. It reacts first and asks questions later. And in that reaction, details get exaggerated, meanings get distorted, and narratives form that often have little to do with reality. What makes this situation interesting isn't the image itself, but the speed at which meaning was assigned to it. Within minutes, strangers online began constructing stories, debating appearances, and turning a simple snapshot into a talking point. But here's the question you should pause on. Why does a single image hold so much power over public conversation? The answer lies in how modern media consumption works. People don't just see celebrities anymore, they consume them in fragments. A photo becomes a headline becomes an assumption, and an assumption becomes truth in the minds of thousands who never knew the full context in the first place. For public figures like Megyn Kelly, this cycle is not new. It repeats in different forms, across different years, with different moments. What changes is the speed. Today, what once took days of media coverage now happens in minutes on social platforms. And that acceleration leaves very little room for nuance, explanation, or reality to catch up. But behind the noise, there's always a human being navigating something far more complex than the internet ever acknowledges. Public life means living under constant interpretation. Every appearance becomes symbolic. Every moment becomes analyzed. And sometimes, the person at the center of it all is left watching a version of themselves being discussed that doesn't fully match who they are. That gap between perception and reality is where emotional tension builds. Because it raises a quiet but important question: how much of what we believe about public figures is actually real, and how much is simply collective projection? As the discussion around the photo continued, what stood out wasn't the image anymore. It was the intensity of reaction. Some defended, some criticized, many simply observed. But almost everyone participated in the same digital phenomenon: instant judgment in a world that rarely slows down enough for understanding. And maybe that's the real lesson hidden inside moments like this. Public figures don't just live their lives, they live them multiplied through millions of interpretations. One photo becomes a mirror, not just reflecting the person in it, but reflecting the audience looking at it as well. Their values, their biases, their expectations. In the end, the image fades. The trending topic moves on. But what remains is the pattern it reveals, how quickly we turn moments into narratives and narratives into assumptions. And perhaps the most important reminder is this: behind every viral moment is a real life, continuing long after the internet has moved on to the next story.